I have an idea. Let's make the Magnificent. Welcome back again, my friends, my chromatic warriors. Today on display we have Sigvald the Magnificent once again. This time we are taking him from the ugly phase to the magnificent phase. We're in for a lot of that, so just buckle up. But we're working on his armor today, getting that semi-gloss, shimmer shine. Some people have looked at this armor and thought it was silver. Some see it as black. I was going for black. I'll let you decide, because we all know a battle plan never really lasts past the first turn anyways. And we'll also be getting to the non-metallic metal gold trim on his armor. It's a very fine and tight area, but the recipe is laid out and results are clear to see. Without any further ado, I would like to teach some painting to you. So let's do it. We last left our hero off at the ugly phase, and today we're going to take him to the moderately attractive phase. That's right. And how do we do that? A heavy layer of contrast paint. So I've got some black Templar. Let's dilute that by 50%. No more, no less. Take a little off on my paper towel, my kitchen paper, and just lay a very thin candy coating over all of this black armor. I don't mind if I hit the desk and drop the model. I also don't mind if I hit some of the trim. It's just going to help kind of black line those details out. I can go right over it. It's fine. Everything is very, very thin. This is just a subtle kick. You know all about subtle kicks. All right, on with it. Contrast paint all dried up. I like the black Templar because it adds a slight bluish hue. You can see up on the palette I have some black and some white mixed up in a gradiated fashion, very messy. And I'm just going to start bringing up, go a little brighter. I want to highlight this armor, but I still want it to read as black, so very, very small proportions. Just gradually layering that up, bringing everything to very tight, compact highlights, leaving a larger amount of mid-tone and shadow show. I want that to read as black, but I want it to shine up to white. Oh, beautiful obsidian dragon glass. Remember, while you are doing this, this is a very small model, small amount of paint. Don't take too much paint. Try to take an amount where you will run out at the end of all of your brushwork. See just how faint and minuscule that is. That's how we build up the smooth. See, it's going to take a few passes to really build things up, but it's getting there. In theory, you're covering less and less of the surface area, so it won't take much time at all to add a quick pass of highlights. Very gradually, I'm moving up in brightness, taking from higher and higher on that gradient that I've mixed up on the palette. Working it up to these fine little points. Even at the very top of this pectoral, I want the highlight to separate. Just have a brighter portion right here and over there. It doesn't matter if I get any of this paint on the gold trim. That's why I'm working from the inside out. I'll try to avoid it, but mistakes will be made. No big deal. Now also, as I'm highlighting along, and I come up to these
areas of filigree trim. Not for the faint of heart. I want to very gently outline these, as it would cause a little bit of interruption or reflection in this shimmering armor. So very, very carefully, I want to outline all of these tiny lines. Try to maintain a black line. I'll probably black line it as well. We're going crazy. But you can see the effect that has. It really makes all of this filigree stand out nicely. And I can also, now I'm managing a lot of my highlights in the form of edge highlights or just very tiny dots or minuscule blends. See, as I'm working on top of some of these gray lines with a slightly brighter white, pulling everything tighter and tighter until it's all clamped down. Yeah, right at the top of this leg muscle. Let's drag a line along that filigree. And to just break things away for a minute and show you these lines that seem impossible. Very, very gently, see me dragging the tip across. Look at what my fingers are doing, my thumb, my pinky finger. And now in a lot of these cases, the brush is sweeping down and lifting up. And I get just a little slash like that. And that is how I'm outlining all of these little bits of filigree. So work on that if you like. And just know the more pressure you apply, the wider the line will be, right? Same brush. Just very, very lightly. And also notice I'm leading the brush at an angle. I'm not trying to pencil it on because these bristles could bounce in any direction. Things could get a little more out of control. Get a better, finer line by leading them along. All right, he's coming along nicely. I just wanted to drop back in as I'm adding more highlights to his individual muscle plates. Also found room to add this reflective line along the bottom of his pectoral here. Slightly brightening that up, taking from my brightest gray, making sure to not completely cover the previous layer, and we'll even take the smallest dot of white to cap it off. Magnifique. And we can do the same up in this little corner. Just blend a small amount of white in place. Coming along nicely. At this point, I see an opportunity for a little stylish flourish. I want to put a shimmer shine running across his pectoral. Let's assume there's a reflection falling down on that area, causing the light to split and have a kind of slim, circular, sharp reflection. A little something just like that. Have this slight kind of very lazily drawn U shape. Very gently. See me kind of missing, just making sure I don't press too hard, but I want to get close enough so I can make a nice fine line on the surface. Now let's cap that off with one final white dot. Don't miss. I didn't miss. I'm going to bring these white dots into place in other areas as well, but before I go crazy, I should start working up the gold trim. You can see me starting to add these little reflective dots down here on the shin and such. Let's work up the gold a little bit further and then talk about dots. There he is, all jazzed up. Well enough for now. I want to concentrate my efforts on the gold trim. It was just roughly set in there. We direct our attention to the palette cam over here. I've got some specific mixtures going on. I have coal black from P3, just like a deep ocean green, bloodstone and pure black, all mixed together. Then I have coal black and bloodstone here, coal black and more bloodstone. Then I took that same mixture and started adding portions of bright yellow, sulfuric yellow in this case, and then portions of white. So there is coal black running through all of these mixtures in a very slight amount, as well as bloodstone. Mix to your own taste, though, whatever looks good. I just wanted to share the breakdown. So let's get into it. I concentrate most of my efforts with this mid-tone here, but I want to have the shadows and highlights available. And we want to concentrate on all of the peaks and then the lower kind of horseshoe-shaped angles. It'll make more sense as we paint it in, but basically my efforts, as I see at the brightest point of light, I'll paint that in like so, fall like so, and wherever the most upward angle of the bend of these pieces of filigree, the light would be the brightest at the top of that peak, and also would be collecting as it kind of falls into these lower crevices as well. So everything outside of that, I will just be layering these colors up, building towards those brightest points. I don't have to concentrate so much on extreme blending because metals have this, they're very shimmery by nature, and if we keep our amounts of color very small and compact, we can get away without having to concentrate so much on blending, but just placing a wide variety of colors and tones for the mind to observe and the imagination to pull from. Here, let's run through that same progression on one of these tighter, more compact areas. Let's look at the filigree running between all of his sculpted abs, because it comes to all these points along the way. Sculpted a lot of gradual points, so we can be building on that. And again, it's such a small, tight area. You don't have to worry about blending as much. Just control your portions, working in tiny dots and slashes, in a sense. Let's pull some bright white dots into play. Just like that. Get that shimmering gold, freshly polished for battle. Sigvald looking his best. Okay, there he is, bangled up a little bit. Before I finish it off though, to smooth everything out, I have a mixture over here. I have some FW sepia ink, some coal black from P3, and just a touch of black paint, all mixed together equally and diluted 50%. It's going to form basically what I made is a cold, dark brown wash. I used coal black in a lot of these mixtures, brown of course. Black is just it wasn't quite deep enough to begin with. We'll just very lightly glaze this over all of these non-metallic metal areas, calming everything down, blending it together, and we can come back through, pull out some final highlights. Oh yeah, and there it is after applying a custom wash. Now, I'm going to be bringing up all of these highlights one more time. Of course, working in very, very small portions, the tiniest dots and slashes, just capping off all the blends at the peaks, as well as the accumulations, the valleys. I have to hold my breath in between brush strokes, nearly. I'll take a final dot of white to just finish things off very lightly.
And there he spins, encased in decorative metal tighter than a second skin, replete with gold details and red gems. We'll be getting to the red gems and many other details in future videos. Stay tuned. Please let me know any thoughts, any questions you may have in the comments section below. I'm always happy to hear from you and happy to answer questions. Questions are conductive towards learning, so have no fear. You're here in a safe place as a supporter of this Patreon, and I'm happy to have you. Catch you next time.